All right. Let's dive into some Python today.
Sounds good.
Based on all the stuff you sent me, I think this deep dive's going to be pretty fun.
Yeah.
I'm already fascinated by how Python is used everywhere. Like, I mean, you see it in web development and then data science and then
Yeah.
even like artificial intelligence.
Yeah.
It seems like it's everywhere.
Yeah, it really is. And it's, one of the things that's so remarkable about it is that it manages to be both incredibly versatile and beginner friendly. So,
Okay. Yeah.
it's one of the core principles behind its design is readability.
Gotcha.
So, that makes it easier to understand and learn compared to a lot of other languages.
Yeah. So it's like kind of counterintuitive that something so powerful and used for such complex things can also be easy to learn.
Right.
So before we even write any code or anything,
Yeah.
the source material mentions making sure that Python is already installed on your computer.
Mm-hmm.
And it talks about typing in Python
Mm-hmm.
and then 2 dashes and then version or Python 3 and then 2 dashes and version into a terminal.
Yeah.
What even is a terminal?
That's a good question. So think of the terminal as a direct line of communication with your computer.
Okay.
It's a way to give it instructions using text commands.
Yes,
it's
sure.
a little different than clicking icons and using a mouse or whatever, but
Yeah.
the source that you provided, it actually walks you through how to open it up.
Okay.
And once you're there, typing those commands will tell you if you have Python and what version it is.
Okay, so it's like we're speaking directly to the heart of the computer.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. And if it turns out Python isn't installed on your computer, the source material also have instructions for that too.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. It links you to python.org, which is where you can download the right version for your computer, and then they also have installation instructions. So
Awesome. So once we have Python up and running, there's this tradition in programming called the Hello World program, right? And it's like the first program most people write when they're learning how to code.
exactly.
And your source material also mentioned this as well.
Yeah, it's kind of like a rite of passage for new programmers.
Okay, so what's the point? Why is this Hello World program so important?
Well, it might seem basic,
Okay,
but it illustrates how Python works at its core.
gotcha.
So the program itself is just one line of code, which is print hello world.
Okay.
So that print function, that tells Python to display something on the screen.
Great.
And the text that you want to display goes inside the parentheses and within the quotation marks. And that's Python's way of knowing that you want to output that specific text.
Okay, so it's like we're giving Python a direct command in its own language.
Exactly.
I like that. The source material also encourages writing a Hello Python program as a challenge.
Right.
That's pretty much the same thing, right?
Absolutely, yeah. It's just a small tweak to the original hello world
Mm.
code. You just replace world with Python in the print function.
Okay.
And the source material also, it walks you through the steps of actually creating a file,
Okay.
to typing in the code, and then running it.
Awesome.
So it's a small victory,
Yeah.
but it gets you comfortable with the entire process of writing and executing Python code.
Small victories are still victories. So, okay, we've installed Python. We've
Right.
sent a message to our computer through the terminal, and we've written our first program.
Yeah.
I feel like we're making progress.
We are. And, the beauty of Python is that these fundamentals lay the groundwork for much more complex things. So,
Yeah.
for instance, the source that you provided mentions variables and data types.
Hmm.
And those are the building blocks for creating more sophisticated programs.
I mean, to be honest with you, I always get a little confused by variables and data types.
Okay.
Could you break that down for me?
Sure, yeah. So think of a variable as a container that holds information. And this information can be different types, like numbers, text, or even lists of items.
Okay.
So Python lets you manipulate these variables to perform calculations, manipulate text, and much more.
So it's like we're giving these pieces of information names and putting them in these containers so we
Yeah.
can organize them and use them later.
Exactly. And data types, those tell Python what kind of information is stored in that variable.
Okay.
So, for example, if you wanted to store someone's age,
Mm-hmm.
you would use an integer data type, which is a whole number.
Gotcha.
But for their name, you would use a string data type, which is a sequence of characters.
That's pretty cool. It's fascinating to me how Python can take these really simple concepts
Right.
and build on them to create these powerful programs.
Right.
I'm trying to understand now why it's used for everything, building websites, analyzing data.
Exactly, and that's just scratching the surface.
Yeah.
What's really exciting is that the knowledge that you're gaining now really opens the door to exploring all those diverse applications of